Basically, for Battlefield Aerial Interrupt, there's 4 different parts of it that are really important. So the first step is simply letting go. If you fast fall and then try and aerial interrupt, you're going to bump your head and you're going to die. What I generally do is I go very slightly down on the stick, and I'll bring up the input display so you can see what the values are. If I let go on one frame and then the next frame I'm greater than 0.65, say I'm at 0.66, and that's that rightmost pink value, 0.6625. If I'm falling with that, then I'm going to fast fall. So in order to let go of the ledge, I believe you need to be greater than 0.2875. So Y needs to be in a fairly narrow range when you're letting go in order to not fast fall. You can just practice that by trying to let go of the ledge with a slight input. The second part is jumping. With jumping for the Battlefield Aerial Interrupt, you actually need to be holding slightly in while you jump. You can't jump with no X direction at all and then drift in fully, because even if you're executing on the correct frame, you're not going to be able to go far enough in order to actually land inside of the stage. So you need to let go, not fast fall, and then have at least 0.2875 on the X. That's the second to rightmost value here on my controller. So if you do that, and then say you hold in fully afterwards, and then you do up air, then it actually will work. The thing is that even if you are holding slightly in, if you're not holding in enough, say if you do 0.2875 for the entire time, or you do 0.2875 initially and then you don't drift in at all afterwards, it still might not work. So there, I had the jump correct in that I was holding in on the X value enough, but it wasn't enough without the drift to actually get all the way on stage. So even though I was frame perfect on where I needed to up air, it still didn't work. So the third part is you have to do optimal drift after you jump. It doesn't matter too much where your X value is, but it should be somewhere between 0.2875 and 0.9875. So pretty much anywhere between there is going to work. The last part is just pressing up air on the right frame, and that happens to be on frame 9 after you jump, or frame 10. So I'm holding in, and then it says 9 on the screen, jump aerial F, and then I press up on the C stick, and it should work. The only other thing is that if you let go and then immediately press all the way in while you're jumping, and then continue to drift all the way in, you still might bump your head. Yeah, you want to not have it be completely fully in when you jump. Or if you do have it fully completely in while you jump, you want to make sure that you're not holding in even farther as you drift in. If you're going to jump fully here, you want to not drift in while you are on your way from jumping. It's all about sort of moderation when it comes to this Battlefield Aerial Interrupt. You want to be like just in the right Goldilocks zone of your drift and your jump in order to get it. What I find when I'm practicing is that it's all about the speed at which I do this motion. If you look at my input display, I do down and in, or down slightly and then in. And so that's really the motion that you want to practice. Down slightly, and then once you get around to here, then you jump, and then keep on drifting in. And so it's all about how fast you do this motion of down and slightly in. If you do it too fast, you'll probably bump your head. If you do it too slow, you probably won't make it onto the stage fully. If you do it at just the right speed, then it should work. But you also have to time your jump and your up air to be in the right spot, which are things that you can practice on other stages. But for Battlefield specifically, you need to do this really specific drift in order to get it every time. That's really it in terms of Battlefield Aerial Interrupt. I'm going to show now how I actually am able to practice this and test how good I'm doing. So I go to all this stuff and turn frame counter on. And this is a trick that Achilles added in a long time ago in the hack pack, but it's still a really, really useful option. For each different animation that you're in, the very first one at the top where it says squat weight, and then it says squat RB, and now 0 weight, that's me. That's what animation I'm in. When you're doing aerial interrupt, you're in a few different animations. First, you're in cliff catch, and that's just the time that you're grabbing a ledge that you can't do anything at all. But once you exit cliff catch, then you go into cliff weight. Then once you're in cliff weight, then you're free to do anything. Get up attack, neutral get up, roll from ledge, drop from ledge, and tournament winner. So once you're in cliff weight, then that's when you want to know how long you're in cliff weight before you decide to let go of ledge. Because if you wait in cliff weight for a really long time, but you do everything else for the aerial interrupt perfectly, you're still not going to get much invincibility. There I had like 3 frames of invincibility, which was a lot, but I held cliff weight for too long of a time. Get off of cliff weight as fast as possible. Then, second, you want to know how long you're in fall before you jump. So if you let go of cliff weight and then you're falling, and then you decide to jump an aerial interrupt, you're not going to do it right. So you want to know how many frames you're in fall, how many frames you're in cliff weight, and then how many frames you're in jump, which is this jump aerial F, before you actually input the up air. Theoretically, if you are only in fall for 1 frame and you jump forward and then you press up air on the correct frame 9 or 10 frames later, then you should have the exact right timing for the aerial interrupt. It just means you didn't get the drift right. Frame counter helps us in a way that you basically freeze it on a certain animation. So I can freeze myself in an animation and then set one of the percents of the characters to be a counter of how many frames have passed in that animation. So I'm going to set it so that Samus's is going to be the amount of time that I'm sitting in cliff weight. So I'm going to press L and R and D-pad left twice, and unfreeze myself, go into fall, L, R, D-pad left, go into jump, and I might make a full tutorial on this. Just trust me for now that I'm essentially just making it so that the counter says how long I'm in each animation. Sometimes you need to reload it in 20XX to get it to work. Now it's counting how many frames I'm in each animation. You'll see that Samus's percent is basically matching that very first top text that says 0 cliff weight, and it says what frame of the animation I'm in. And then how long I'm in fall, just falling like this before I jump, and then how long I'm in jump before I press up air. You want to make it so that you get 0, 0, and 9. And if you up air, then that means you did it frame perfectly. The third percent is how long you've been in jump before you up air. If it says 9 or 10, that means you did it like at the exact right timing. You want the first one to be as close to 0 as possible. You want the second one to be 0 or 1, and you want the third one to be 9 or 10. And if you get all that, then that means that you've aerial interrupted correctly. What I also do, in addition to this, is I record myself actually doing it. So in 20XX, there's this cool thing, recording. So you save a state with D-pad right, I believe, and then you can load back up the state and try a few aerial interrupts and see what you did wrong. So I'm going to play back what I just did, and I'm going to look at my inputs. I'm going to see what did I mess up each time. So that time I did a tournament winner. Why did I do that? In cliff catch, cliff weight. I press down, but then I press jump right as I'm moving the stick from neutral to forward. And I didn't have a frame of going straight down to let go of the ledge. I did forward and jump at the same time, which caused me to tournament winner instead of let go and then jump. So that's good to know, because then that means I just need to do it a little more slowly. I'm watching it again. Okay, I did let go, and I did jump, and I did up air on the correct frame. Oh, I fell for 3 frames. Yeah, that second number, Bowser's percent, should be 0 or 1. I actually fell for 3 frames. Oh, and I also wasn't drifting correctly. If you look at this frame, my control stick was still essentially in the middle, so I didn't jump forward as I was falling. I just jumped straight up and then drifted afterwards. So that was the problem there. I essentially didn't do it fast enough. And you can also practice ledge dashes this way. With ledge dashes, you essentially want to do the same thing. You want to let go as soon as you can from cliff weight, which is this frame. Then you want to jump as soon as possible. You don't need to drift in as hard. It's not as big a deal. But you want to air dodge on frame 13. Air dodge straight in on frame 13, 14, or 15. And that will get you to be in shield and be completely invincible the entire time. But it's really good to know what exactly you messed up whenever you mess up and have that immediate feedback. And that's what frame counter allows you to do. To say, alright, I messed up, but why did I mess up? What part of my execution was I off in? So I hope you enjoyed and learned something. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.